With Michigan getting avalanched by Texas at home, how bad are things going to be for Michigan this year? Because this loss to Texas exposed the truth about what Michigan is as a football program right now, and they're in rebuild mode. You lost Jim Harbaugh, the greatest head coach this program has had since the 90s and 80s. J.J. McCarthy has been the best quarterback they've had in a while as well. And you lost tons of talent from that championship team last year. Now, with you having a lot of new faces on the offensive line, you don't have a lot of talent in the passing game. The only reliable weapon you have is Colson Loveland, who's probably the best tight end in college football. And that's about it. That's not going to be enough for Michigan to get the 9 wins this year. Your offensive line is struggling. Davis Warren isn't it. He's a great story, but he's not a good quarterback. He had 2 costly interceptions. He has limited mobility. And Alex Orji, he's the better athlete, but you're scared to ask Alex Orji to even drop back to throw one football pass. You know, you can't get the run game going. Your defense is still good, but when you're just completely inept and incompetent offensively, it's hard for your defense to carry you to wins when you're going up against elite teams like Texas. And if you can't even compete and be in a one-possession game with a school like Texas, you're going to have a hard time being able to beat USC, who has a good defense, it looks like, with their new defensive coordinator, Deanne Lynn, and we already know how good they're going to be offensively. Are you going to be able to beat Washington on the road? Are you even going to be able to beat Illinois, Michigan State? You know you're going to get steamrolled by Oregon, and you're probably going to get embarrassed by Ohio State. Ohio State was probably laughing when they saw the final score in this Texas-Michigan game, because they know that the Michigan team that they're about to play this year is inferior to them talent-wise, from a physicality standpoint, and from a coaching standpoint right now. They don't look good enough to even give Ohio State a challenge. Now, that is a rivalry game. Rivalry games, you can never judge them based off what's happened throughout the season, because rivalry games can get a little bit weird. Michigan could be a big underdog against Ohio State this year and end up extending their win streak over them. That's just how weird rivalry games are. But Michigan right now has some serious problems that got exposed by Texas. They need to step up their recruiting when it comes to getting elite wide receivers. Your offensive line is going to end up improving, but it's hard to have an offensive line that is consistently among the top 5 best in college football like you have the past 3 years. And you lost Jim Harbaugh. Some of us were thinking that Sharon Moore could be the David Shaw for Michigan, you know, but he's not. When Jim Harbaugh left Stanford, David Shaw took over. He was on his staff as an assistant coach, and Stanford was still a really good program. He picked up from where Jim Harbaugh left off, but Sharon Moore, it seems like he's the complete opposite. He may be one of the few Jim Harbaugh assistants that may not be that good of a head coach. And right now, it looks like for Michigan, they were on top the last couple of years, and they're crashing right back down to reality. They're coming back down to earth. I can't see them winning the Big Ten or being a playoff team, because when you just get avalanche at home against Texas, you're going to have a hard time beating the other elite teams on your schedule. And I see you having automatic losses to USC and Ohio State. Even if you are at home, you're going to have a difficult time beating them just because you got no offense. You got no quarterback that can help you play complementary football. Oregon is the loss too. So you're probably going to end up going 7-5, 8-4 at best. And I could see a situation where Michigan may not even have a winning record this season. As ludicrous as what that may sound, there's no guaranteed wins that you have when your offense is this bad as what it was today against Texas. And the Big Ten has a lot of quality depth this year. You know, it's not just 3-4 teams running the conference anymore. It's actually some legit competition. And if Michigan doesn't pick it up offensively, they're going to have a really bad season coming off a national title win.